We all know the tragedy of November 1st, 2022. We all felt the earth shift when Takeoff was taken from us. But nobody, and I mean nobody, was prepared for the grainy, midnight security footage that just leaked from a private cemetery in Atlanta. This isn't just a visit to a grave. This is a scene that feels like it was ripped out of a dark Hollywood thriller. Imagine the silence of a graveyard at 2 a.m. suddenly shattered by the bass of a subwoofer. Imagine the smell of expensive champagne hitting the sacred soil. This footage doesn't show a man in mourning. It shows a man throwing a last party on top of his nephew's resting place. Is this a beautiful, unconventional tribute? Or is this the ultimate sign of disrespect that has finally pushed the Migos family past the point of no return? Tonight, we are breaking down every second of that video, the shadows, the bottles, and the secret guests that were caught in the frame. You won't believe who was standing right behind Quavo when the music started. Stay tuned, because the truth behind this footage is darker than the night it was filmed. To understand why this footage is sending seismic shockwaves through the global hip-hop community, we have to look at the crumbling pillars of the Migos empire. For over a decade, Quavo, Offset, and Takeoff weren't just a rap group. They were a biological brotherhood. They were a cultural phenomenon that redefined the sound of the modern era. But as the platinum plaques piled up and the bank accounts swelled into the hundreds of millions, the legendary loyalty that defined the North Atlanta trio started to fray at the edges. Before the devastating tragedy at 810 Billiards and Bowling in Houston, the cracks were already visible to anyone paying attention. We saw the sudden unfollows on Instagram. We heard the messy lyrics in Quavo and Takeoff's duo projects that seemed to take direct aim at Offset. We saw the solo red carpets and the awkward silence whenever the Migos name was brought up in interviews. The world watched in real time as a family dynasty began to cannibalize itself. But then, the world stopped. On November 1st, 2022, Takeoff, the quiet genius, the lyrical anchor, and the soul of the group, was taken from us. In that moment, the petty beef over loyalty and contracts was supposed to evaporate. The industry expected the remaining two members to unite in their shared grief, to bury the hatchet alongside their brother. Instead, the tragedy acted as a magnifying glass for their resentment. We saw the alleged physical altercation backstage at the 65th Grammy Awards, where sources claimed Quavo and Offset had to be pulled apart just moments before a tribute performance. We heard the leaked audio of Cardi B screaming in a hallway, "Both of y'all are wrong. This is not it." It became clear that the tension wasn't just about music anymore. It was a psychological war over who truly owned Takeoff's memory. Offset took the path of the traditional silent mourner, inked with a massive, breathtaking tattoo of Takeoff's face that covers his entire back. He chose quiet visits and tearful, public tributes that felt grounded in reality. Quavo, however, is the huncho. He is the one who was standing mere inches away when the shots rang out in Houston. He is the one who held Takeoff as the light went out of his eyes. Insiders in the Atlanta underground have long whispered that Quavo carries a guilt so heavy, so suffocating, that it has fundamentally altered his mental state. Sources close to the quality control label have leaked reports that Quavo hasn't slept a full night in years, often seen wandering his mansion at 3 a.m., playing old Migos demos at maximum volume. He hasn't been looking for closure. He's been looking for a way to bring back the vibe that made them kings. This brings us to the present moment, March 2026. The industry has been strangely quiet lately, but underneath the surface, a dark storm was brewing. Rumors of a secret ritual or a final awakening have been circulating in the VIP sections of Atlanta's most exclusive clubs for weeks. High-level associates claimed Quavo was planning something unprecedented to mark the anniversary of their last #1 hit. Some thought it would be a holographic concert. Others thought it was a billion-dollar statue. Nobody, not even the most hardened street insiders, expected what was captured on the cemetery's high-tech infrared security system. This wasn't a mistake or a lapse in judgment. This was a calculated, high-stakes act of a broken superstar trying to bridge the gap between the living and the dead. The background is essential because it sets the stage for a man who has seemingly lost his grip on social norms and is trying to throw a party for a ghost. The atmosphere in Atlanta is currently at a boiling point. The streets are talking, and the narrative is shifting from mourning to obsession. This introduction is the only way to process the sheer madness of the security footage we are about to break down. You have to understand that for Quavo, the cemetery isn't a place of rest. It's the only place where he feels the Migos are still the three Migos. And that delusion led him to do something that has left the entire music world paralyzed with shock. Now, let's get into the heart of the scandal that has the entire state of Georgia in a state of absolute panic. The footage, obtained by an anonymous source claiming to be a former night shift security lead at the Memorial Park, starts at exactly 1:47 a.m. This is a time when the gates are heavy bolted, the mourners are long gone, and the only thing moving should be the wind through the willow trees. But the infrared lens picks up a heavy, black SUV rolling slowly toward the perimeter of the Migos private plot. Out steps Quavo, but he isn't dressed in the traditional black suit of a grieving uncle. He is in full hotel lobby era drip, iced out, designer shades on even in the pitch black, and a leather jacket that screams superstar. He isn't alone. 3 other men, their faces obscured by deep hoodies and surgical masks, follow him like a tactical unit. But they aren't carrying flowers, and they aren't carrying Bibles. They are carrying a literal party kit. The footage shows them unfolding a portable, high-end DJ booth right in front of the marble mausoleum. They are hooking up massive, battery-powered subwoofers that look like they belong in a stadium, not a sanctuary. We see crates of Ace of Spades champagne being stacked on top of the sacred soil. We see a thick, blue haze of smoke beginning to rise, and it isn't from the Georgia mist. It's the smell of a celebration that was never meant to be seen by the public eye. The first twist, as the men finish the setup, they don't kneel. They don't bow their heads. They don't even offer a moment of silence. Instead, the footage captures Quavo grabbing a gold-plated bottle of champagne, popping the cork with a sound that must have echoed for miles, and pouring half of the expensive liquid directly onto the grave. He then takes a massive, desperate swig himself. Then, the audio, low quality, distorted by the wind, but unmistakable, picks up the sudden, violent thumping of the bass. They are playing Versace. They are playing the very song that put the Migos on the map at maximum volume, right there at the foot of the casket. Leaked DMs from a prominent Atlanta socialite who was allegedly invited to this after-hours session but got cold feet suggest that this wasn't just a random act of drunken mourning. The message, which has been screenshotted and shared millions of times on Telegram, reads, "Huncho said he's tired of the crying. He told us we're going to the site tonight to wake him up. He brought the speakers, the lights, everything. It was eerie, bro. He was talking to the headstone like Takeoff was standing right there in the booth with him. He kept saying, 'Drop the beat, take. Drop the beat.'" Social media has absolutely erupted into a battlefield of opinions. A fake Twitter thread that went viral within minutes of the leak claimed, "I live 3 blocks from that cemetery. We heard the bass shaking our windows at 2 a.m. We thought it was a paranormal event or a ghost haunt, but it was just Quavo acting out his trauma. This is sick. There are other families buried there who deserve peace." Another post from an account claiming to be a distant cousin of the family said, "He's lost his grip. You don't bring the strip club to the stone. This is the ultimate betrayal of our ancestors and our values." Takeoff was the quiet one. He would have hated this. But here is the kicker, the moment that made the security guard watching the monitors literally drop his coffee. In the middle of the party, as the beat for Bad and Bougie drops, Quavo starts dancing. He isn't just swaying, he is performing. He's doing the signature Migos flow, pointing his fingers like guns at the empty space beside him as if Takeoff is right there doing the ad-libs. It looks like a celebration, but the raw, jagged desperation in Quavo's movements is haunting to watch. He looks like a man trying to force a miracle through sheer volume. And just when you think the situation couldn't possibly get any more bizarre or disrespectful, a second vehicle, a white luxury sedan, pulls up silently behind the SUV. The doors swing open, and a woman steps out. She is dressed in a long, flowing white gown that looks almost like a wedding dress. The footage is blurry, the light is low, but the internet is already 99% convinced it's someone Takeoff was once deeply, secretly involved with, someone who was famously barred from the official funeral by the family. As she walks toward Quavo, the music doesn't stop, but the vibe changes instantly. Quavo turns toward her, and for the first time in the video, his huncho exterior cracks. He looks terrified. The conflict between these two over the grave of a fallen king is about to reveal a secret that the Migos have been hiding for 4 years. This isn't just a party anymore. It's a confrontation over a legacy that is currently being burnt to the ground. The drama doesn't stop at the music. As this mystery woman in white approaches the DJ booth, the atmosphere in the grainy infrared footage shifts from party to a high-stakes confrontation. We see Quavo stop his performance abruptly. He points a diamond-encrusted finger at her, his body language stiffening into a defensive stance. There is an intense, silent argument captured on the tape. She points at the grave, then at him, her gestures wide and frantic. It looks like she's accusing him of the unthinkable, using Takeoff's final resting place for a publicity stunt, or worse, trying to summon a spirit that he isn't ready to face. The shocking reveal, after 5 minutes of heated exchange, the woman reaches into her silk gown and pulls out a small, velvet box. Quavo opens it, and even through the low-resolution security lens, you can see the blinding flash of VVS diamonds. The internet is in a total meltdown because that isn't just any jewelry. Insiders are claiming it's Takeoff's infamous spaceman chain, the one rumored to have been snatched or lost during the chaos the night of the shooting in Houston. Quavo doesn't put it on. Instead, he places it directly on the cold marble of the headstone. He then reaches into his pocket and pulls out a folding knife. The footage shows Quavo and the mystery woman each cutting their palms in a synchronized, eerie motion and pressing them together directly over the grave. The internet is calling it a blood pact. Why would the huncho of the Migos be making a blood pact in a cemetery at 2:15 a.m.? Is he trying to seal a secret about what really happened that night? Is he promising a dark revenge that the police couldn't deliver? Or is this some kind of occult apology to the nephew he couldn't protect? The industry backlash was instantaneous and brutal. An unverified insider from Offset's Inner Circle posted a cryptic Instagram story with a black background and the chilling words, "I seen the footage. Don't call me. Don't ask me. The family is dead. He crossed the line. You don't play with the ancestors." The debt is being collected. Twitter, X, is in a state of absolute, unbridled panic. Theories are flying that Quavo is trying to bind Takeoff's legacy to his own to save a failing career, or that the woman is a secret witness to the Houston tragedy who has finally come to collect her hush money in blood. The blood pact has sent conspiracy theorists into a frenzy. People are zooming in on the hand signs Quavo made toward the camera before he finally cut the music. Some experts claim they aren't gang signs at all. They are symbols representing a life for a life. This escalation has turned a grave visit into a potential criminal investigation. The scale of the betrayal is so large that fans are literally burning their Migos merch in the streets of Atlanta. But the biggest shock isn't the blood or the jewelry. It's what Quavo said right before the SUV sped away. Sources say he leaned into the headstone and whispered, "It's done. Now, they can't stop us." Who are they? And what did Quavo just set in motion? The cliffhanger has left the world desperate for answers, but the footage has one more secret to give up before the sun rises. The fallout from the Midnight Rave and the Blood Pact has officially split the world of hip-hop into two warring factions, and the digital landscape is currently a battlefield of grief, anger, and utter confusion. Within hours of the security footage leaking, Quavo and Takeoff's grave were the top trending topics globally. But the conversation has moved far beyond a simple celebrity sighting. This has become a cultural crisis. On one side, you have the celebration of life loyalists. These fans, many of whom grew up on the Migos' high-energy anthems, argue that Quavo is a grieving genius who is simply honoring Takeoff in the only language they both truly understood, the language of the trap. Takeoff didn't want a quiet funeral. He wanted the bass, the ice, and the energy.
Quavo is a
real one for bringing the club to the casket because that's where Take's spirit lives. One viral TikTok comment reads, amassing over 500,000 likes in a single morning. This faction believes that traditional mourning is for outsiders and that the Migos bond is so deep it transcends the laws of the cemetery. However, the opposing faction, the Sanctity of the Dead crowd, is calling for Quavo to be permanently canceled and barred from the memorial park. Religious leaders in Atlanta and traditionalists across the South are calling the act pure sacrilege. One fake news report from a prominent Atlanta-based blog claims that the cemetery's board of directors is holding an emergency meeting to discuss a permanent restraining order against Quavo to protect the peace of the hundreds of other families buried in that section. The backlash is visceral. People are genuinely disgusted by the sight of champagne hitting the soil of a grave. The industry reactions have been even messier. A leaked audio clip, allegedly featuring a high-profile Atlanta rapper who used to be a close collaborator with the trio, was heard saying, "Man, Huncho is really out here tripping. You can't be popping bottles on the man's dirt. That's how you bring a curse on the whole city. That's bad energy, bro. You don't play with the dead like that." Other artists have been seen deleting old photos with Quavo, subtly distancing themselves from the dark energy now associated with the Migos leader. But the most explosive reaction came from the inner circle. While Offset has remained in a state of chilling, radio silence, his wife Cardi B reportedly went on a deleted Twitter rant that sent the internet into a tailspin. One supposed screenshot of a deleted tweet reads, "Some people use grief to heal, and some people use it to perform. You can't hide the truth behind a DJ booth. The ancestors are watching, and they don't like what they see." Fans are convinced this was a direct shot at the blood-packed footage. Rumors are now swirling that the family is in total disarray. Sources claim that Takeoff's mother is beyond devastated and feels that her son's resting place has been turned into a circus for the cameras. There are even whispers of a massive legal filing being prepared in the background, a move to strip Quavo of any rights to Takeoff's estate and likeness to prevent him from ever performing at the grave again. The division isn't just online. It's happening in the very streets where the Migos first started. Atlanta is a city divided, and the tension is so thick you can feel it through the screen. Every new celebrity, like on a hate post, and every disloyal comment from an industry insider is just adding more fuel to a fire that is threatening to burn down the Migos' entire multi-platinum legacy. But here is the chilling reality that the security footage didn't initially reveal. As the black SUV speeds away from the cemetery, leaving behind nothing but the smell of expensive champagne and the echoing silence of the dead, the camera zooms in. This wasn't just a standard graveyard security feed. This was a setup. The final twist, as the first light of the Georgia dawn hits the marble of Takeoff's resting place, a tiny, rhythmic red light begins to blink from deep inside the massive floral arrangement Quavo left behind. It wasn't just a tribute. It was a high-definition, 4K hidden camera. Quavo wasn't just partying for his own grief. He was filming every single second of the blood pact and the ritual for a specific, unseen audience. Why would the leader of the Migos record a midnight occult ceremony at his nephew's grave? Sources deep within the Atlanta music industry are whispering a theory that is even darker than the footage itself. They claim Quavo isn't just making a documentary, he's recording a confession. Rumor has it that there is a secret clause in the Migos' massive multi-million-dollar insurance policy that only pays out if the truth of the Houston night is revealed in a specific way. Was this party actually a staged ritual to satisfy a hidden debt? But the real cliffhanger, the one that has investigators and fans paralyzed, happens in the final 10 seconds of the tape. After Quavo's car is long gone, the high-def hidden camera captures a shadow moving from behind a nearby mausoleum. It isn't a security guard. It's a figure dressed in the exact same tactical gear as the men who were with Quavo. This person walks up to the grave, picks up this spaceman, chain Quavo left behind, and looks directly into the hidden camera. Even through the mask, the eyes are unmistakable. The internet is already screaming one name, the person everyone thought was responsible for the tragedy in the first place. Is Quavo working with the very people who took Takeoff away? Was the blood pact a sign of alliance instead of revenge? As the figure pocketed the diamonds and vanished into the morning mist, one thing became crystal clear. The Migos war isn't over. It's just moved to a place where the living aren't supposed to follow. The grave party was never about saying goodbye. It was about starting something far more dangerous. This is a betrayal that transcends the music, the money, and the streets. What was really in that velvet box? Was Quavo honoring a legend, or was he sealing a dark deal with the very people we were told to hate? The blood pact is out. The footage is haunting the charts, and the Migos legacy is officially in flames. We need your take right now. Is Quavo a grieving genius or a cold-blooded opportunist? Drop your wildest theories in the comments. We're pinning the most shocking one. Hit that subscribe button and turn on all notifications. We are currently tracking that masked figure from the footage, and part 2 drops the second we identify them. Don't miss the truth.